It is April 26th. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to First Touch. My name is Dazerin. Joined with me is Dizz and TBates. And we got a lot to talk about today. But first thing first, as usual, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How we working? What's up, TBates?
I just thought about it. You always say good morning, but it's only good morning for like the Pacific Coast people. It's not good morning for the Eastern or our time. Like for our time, it just hit 12, so it's good afternoon.
Good morning.
Oh,
we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get into today. Obviously, you guys can see our topics on the sidebar. I don't think we need to really go too much into it except for when we get there. But this was a crazy week in terms of RL Esports. It was so funny too. Before going into the day, yesterday, it was pretty quiet. But a lot of stuff shook up yesterday. Like I said, we will get into that when we get into it. But first things first, let's talk about the North American Regional. We are going to recap the NA Regional this weekend, which, I mean, did not go as most people had planned. I think the biggest thing was Alpine and Oxygen both making it to Championship Sunday, at least in terms of like things in the bracket. But
and
gentlemen, it goes. I can't forget about Ghost, especially after we did that tier list and we had him after they ended up making Championship Sunday.
They were mad.
Finky was ready, bro. Finky was ready. He put respect on his name. So I mean, good on Ghost. We got to see them in a tactical timeout. But all in all, gentlemen, any things that's kind of jumped out at you guys this week?
Well, first off, I just want to give my condolences and my heartfelt pain, sadness for my boy Kaz and on that team on Volt down there 0-4.
Oh my god!
Unfortunately, my boy couldn't win a game this weekend, but I mean, it might work out for him one day. Yeah, he's young buck on the come up. Got a lot to learn, but it's good experience though. Oxygen going 3-1 and really making it all the way to that Championship Sunday was quite the shocker. It wasn't very NA-esque. It was more EU-esque. I don't know how I felt about that, but I mean, it's that type of stuff happens.
Yeah, for me, it's crazy to see all the. It's great just to see those three teams in the final day is crazy in itself, and it's just like we got slapped in the face because we were just talking about how EU was so inconsistent, and then all of a sudden, like this weekend, was just like, all right, we can't even say nothing anymore.
Yeah, we can. What am I talking about? We can say plenty. What? This is an anomaly. EU, that's a consistent. EU is consistently inconsistent. NA, this is like a little blip. Like you can throw this one away. It's not really like this won't happen too often, like Oxygen and Alpine playing in that mainstream right there. Like that won't happen. Oh, by the way, Alpine's social media manager, you might be the most adept person on Alpine's whole entire system because you make decent tweets, but then they have absolutely no backup and no facts about them. You made one top 8, brother. One. You ain't consistent as ever. Your team's not good. The last time you tweeted, you said you had an easy group, but then you didn't even make it out of the groups. So I mean, you should. I feel like the Alpine manager should really like tread softly because he a little bit crazy out there, a little bit wild.
He got a target on his back at this point.
Right. So don't put no tweet with me on it. And they'll have no actual backup, some actual facts behind that tweet. Otherwise, it's just bad publicity for you. I'm gonna make sure to call you out. But yeah.
I mean, but Tyler, I gotta jump on that real quick because we got some bad social media managers that be in esports. They be coming out with some wild tweets. Looking at, I'm not even gonna say no names. You know why? Because it's more publicity. We're not giving nobody no more clicks, no more impressions. Because I've been seeing that all over the system. Where some of these people on these social media teams making bad tweets, we've been calling them out. Woo. Yeah, stop. Just stop. What? How come you just can't say something like, oh, we had a bad run or we have a good run? What? I don't get why social media managers gotta be edgy, but they try to. That being said, I'm not going in on just Alpine. I'm just saying in general for like the Alpine is not the only one. In fact, there are worse. So, right, but. I definitely think it was surprising to see Alpine and Oxygen both make it to Championship Sunday and Ghost as well. But watching some of the series, I mean, some of them play good. I mean, especially Oxygen. I think Oxygen played really well.
Oxygen was crazy. That's something that if I was streaming a watch party and I was screaming. I was the biggest Oxygen fan when they were playing against NRG. Oh my gosh, I was actually losing my mind.
Yeah,
watching LJ just Yeah, that kid will be something special. LJ will be something special.
Here he
in the future.
goes.
Hey,
He always
hey,
gasses
hey,
everybody that's younger than 16, and they can
gassing
play one
somebody.
solid
Yo,
weekend.
I don't know how many players. I don't know how many players I said on the come up, and they end up being on the come up. I got a little resume behind me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you pick so many,
so
it's just
many.
like impossible you to
Oh,
fail.
I picked so many. How many people are in the league, TBates?
A lot. I'm saying like out of the talent pool outside the league, you make sure to call out every single one that has any bit of potential. So then when they make the league, you're like, oh, I'm a genius. I'll tell you who is a genius, and here's a genius. It's me, and we'll get into that later.
Oh god.
Oh god! Oh god! Yeah. We'll get into that later. Let's bring it back real quick. So speaking of Oxygen, they had a decent playoff run. Their first win was against Shopify Rebellion, and that's exactly what I want to get into as well. Shopify Rebellion ended up picking up the former KCP roster, and that's actually, there's a lot of news behind that because it just happened randomly. But from what I heard, and these are just things that I've heard, I think Shopify Rebellion ended up buying out KCP's remainder of the contract, which is incredible because I think they were almost done with their contract. They could have just waited a couple of months, but they wanted that team. They wanted it now. So they ended up buying out the KCP contract, which is a huge thing. You don't see orgs do that. But after doing a little bit of research, you find out Shopify is worth, I think, over $100 billion, which if you want to compare, I think, well, actually, I don't want to do that comparison. Just know $100 billion is a lot of money. $100 billion is a lot of money. And Shopify ended up, taking that out now. I think the correct way to pronounce the team is just Rebellion. It's just like when you say Renault Sport Team Vitality, the short version is Team Vitality. So that's your short version is Rebellion, even though it feels like it's much easier to call them Shopify. It's really confusing. But regardless of that, I mean, that's a big deal for KCP, for the players as well. They got themselves a really good deal.
I mean, I want to play for an organization that's worth $100 billion. That means I'm gonna be getting paid myself. So that's just free brand merch. All I know is that when I looked up their Shopify Twitter, it said Mr. Beast followed them. So then I knew that they were legit after that. that's just the way I determined that.
There you go. So I mean, good on the KCP boys. Now Shopify Rebellion. We will see exactly what happens with them a little on later. Something that also is important too for Shopify or Rebellion or whatever you want to call them. Those guys, G2 and FaZe, are fighting for a championship contention. It's gonna be a big major, as all those teams are so close in points, Tyler.
They are so close in points. I believe they have a graphic we can look at. Oh, so we're looking at that 5, 6, and 7. Everybody, 2260, 2210, and 2180 respectively. It's gonna be a tight race. The major coming up is gonna be so impactful for really all three of these organizations and their teams, especially with the off season coming up. We all know roster mania. That's always a thing that happens. So you don't know who's gonna move, who's gonna shift. But in terms of this major and making that top 6. I feel like whoever doesn't make the top 6 definitely makes a roster switch up. So there's so many implications that can come away from that. And it'll be really exciting. You want to see that. It would be even more exciting if it was like 4 or 5. If it was like 5 and 6, it was 2 spots. No, it is 2 spots. But like if 4 wasn't locked in as well with Rogue, and there's 3 spots and like 4 teams outside, that'd be crazy. But everybody's got something to play for come the major. I think NRG's has something to prove. Space Station has something to prove. Rogue, I mean, I don't know what Raul can talk about his beloved Jason and his commando troops behind him and how they're not performing up to his expectations. But that's a subject that Raul could touch on. So other than that, I think NA just has a beautiful parity at the top, and going up to the major, there's plenty of storylines and plenty of different avenues that players they're got to put in the work and time, and it's gonna be good fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, this next upcoming major is something that everybody really needs to pay attention to. Shopify is looking extremely dangerous. They're not a team that you can ever sleep on.
Extremely dangerous.
Yes, they are looking like they're not a team you sleep on. They're not a team that anyone even talks about like often. You talk about G2 still, but G2 is how many points above them? Not that much, right? You talk about FaZe all the time, but FaZe is like 20, 30 points above them. Like Shopify does not get talked about enough, I think. And that's something that they just get They just get by. You know what I'm saying? And get by anywhere in somebody's mind. And you always talked about the teams with the biggest orgs, the top 6 teams, whatever it is. In my opinion, I think Shopify have a great chance to steal a spot from FaZe. In my opinion, I don't think FaZe have been performing the way that we expect FaZe to play, especially after getting signed to an org like FaZe. Everybody had high hopes for them going forward, but they haven't been kind of performing to the way that at least I hold them to the standard now. And I don't think they've been performing that way. I think Shopify will be able to take a spot from them. They'll steal that spot coming this major.
That's what I'm saying. Why you throwing your
Who, me? Uh-oh. TBates. Okay. I lost you for a
Lagging a
second.
little
I
bit.
lost you for a second.
Oh
Yeah.
my camera froze. Oh,
Yeah, it's your camera and it's your microphone. Oh, we lost
Oh,
Tyler.
no.
We actually lost him.
Not again.
Come back. Oh gosh. Okay. We'll try to see if Tyler's like internet fixes itself. It's messing up a little bit. I think we see him now. T-Base, say something.
hello?
Okay, there you go. There you go. You're coming through. All right. Where was I? Oh no, I was definitely interested because Rodas was talking about Shopify Rebellion being in there over FaZe, and it's weird because I was obviously in some of those series that FaZe played in over the weekend. When they played against a team like Stromboli, they look like they were dominating the series. Everything was like super solid with them, but when it came down to playing against Alpine, Alpine was on this weekend, so it was I don't know. You still expect FaZe to win that matchup regardless. So I don't know. They're definitely in a drought right now, and I think I personally want to see FaZe, make its championships, but it's not up to me. It's up to them and how they play on the field. So we do have to see a little bit more of that from them. But we want to move on to we got TBates back. We want to move on to the machine, as they had a really good regional. They actually ended up winning in a regional 3 over NRG.
Shocker.
Bates, just go ahead, man. Just go ahead, man.
There's nothing really I have to say. I let all y'all know the only person who's consistent on this show is me. I talk about 2 teams. I talk about G2, and I don't put them on the same pedestal as the machine. And I say the machine's the best in the name. They always have been, and they always will be. I say that every single show. And did anybody expect anything less? I told y'all last week I had a little bit more tinkering to do to the machine, a little bit more mechanic work. We all saw him beat up on energy at the end. It went 4-3, but come on now. What was my man's on? What was he on? What have I been preaching to everybody for the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks? What have I been saying? I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I know what I'm talking about. People should listen to me about Rocket League. When the words come out of my mouth are very astute and very on point. It's not Raul gassing up Jay Saw. He's having a little honeymoon period. It's all about just greatness. And that's what envy ensues. I believe you have a clip or something like that.
I hope we don't have a clip.
Maybe multiple
we have a
clips.
clip.
We have multiple clips. Okay, so first off, what I said Atomic on Infinity best midfielder. Look at that drop down. It doesn't get much better than that. Where's NRG at? NRG doesn't even see it coming. Where's Garrett G? Garrett G, where's the map? What are you jumping for? That's in your net, Garrett. You know why? Because Atomic on Infinity has a beautiful touchdown. You can't do it in Octane. That's one of the best midfielders. Games like Iniesta out there, controlling FC Barcelona back in their prime. But y'all can talk.
It's just really wild to me.
Yeah, go ahead, Damar.
Nah. It's just wild. Like, obviously, it's a kickoff goal, but it is what it is. Envy also went into 2 game 7s, and you
gotta clutch up.
Yeah. You're right. They do have to clutch up. All
right, so watch this one then.
Okay.
Oh, that's top right.
Demo.
That's top right.
I guess that's in.
Of course it's in. You supposed to say that? You can't see it coming.
It's
like Batman coming out of the night sky. Look at him go. That's a pinch, and you can't do it on Octane, not as consistently.
No one can can do that consistently.
Oh well, when Thomas on Finnick, you can look at this.
That's
On
a lucky
command.
goal. Lucky. He was being aggressive.
There's no such thing as luck. There's no such. I'm not a believer in luck. There's no such thing as luck. Luck is a residue. Luck is a residue of skill. The more you work on something, the better your chances of pulling it out.
I guess he's saying
I don't know how many times I hear TBates say someone's lucky. I don't know.
He said it on this show.
Multiple times on this show.
Go back to the logs. Top blows. What do you say? Top blows had the luckiest series against BDS ever.
Oh, I meant to say fortunate.
I
I probably said fortunate. All I'm saying is Atomic on the Fennec. I've been trying to let everybody know that when Atomic's on Fennec, Envy's the best team in the NA. And they just Envy. I feel like they play the food a little bit. Cause sometimes he hops off and goes on Octane, and it's like, yeah, they're beatable now. I think the whole entire pro team knows it. You could ask a lot of these pros, man. They'll let you know when Atomic's on Fennec, Envy's dangerous. And that's the machine. They're back. They're hitting the phone right when they need you, right before major, right before championships.
I agree.
And I'm just letting you know, Jason, NRG, SSG, and whoever else, they better be ready, cause the machine coming.
I agree with you. Atomic on the Fnac is dangerous. All right, but like
Dangerous.
the segment that we're about to touch on, if something something particular didn't happen, we could be talking about something completely different right now. So that's all I gotta say.
Oh man, we live in a world of ifs and hypotheticals. Oh, congratulations! If that dude woke up 2 minutes earlier and had a cup of coffee on top of making his bacon just crispy enough with scrambled eggs, he just boiled them that time. But this time he scrambles them, they win. Like we can talk about
their
this
whole
game.
basis is if Atomic is on a Fnac.
It's facts.
If Atomic is on a car, what are you talking about?
There statistical
We live
evidence.
on a world of ifs. If Atomic is on a Fennec, then they win. They win world.
Bates does not live on a world of ifs.
Nah, you're on a world of ifs. You contradicting your whole statement.
Right now. No.
Contradicting.
No. Let me break that down.
All of it.
All you're doing is raising your voice. You see me? I don't need to raise my voice to prove my points.
I don't need to raise my voice.
Yeah, you can mock me now too. Congratulations. Your argument has absolutely so many plot holes. You gotta go reserve. You gotta let me talk.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. First off, there's statistical evidence behind the fact that Atomic is better on, and Atomic and Envy are better when Atomic plays on the Fennec. There's statistical evidence behind that. Somebody can bring it up them stats. I might have to bring them up on Twitter or something eventually. Now, after that, there's also the eyeball test. The eyeball test. When you watch Envy when Atomic's on the Fennec, everybody just knows he's better. His game is a midfielder, and the Fennec's just a midfield type card. His passes are more on point. His setups are more on point. His creation, his ability to make turbo poster and miss game is just easier. And it's just there's no disputing it. There's no arguing around it. So as much mockery as you can say, the only mockery you need to focus more on Jason and your boys from Rogue. Right now they on a downward trend, and it doesn't look like they're gonna pick up anytime soon.
I agree with you. Why do you think I'm not talking about them? They got problems they got to deal with on their own. But we ain't talking about them. The topic is the machine. And your whole status on if he's on a car, then he makes his two teammates perform particularly better. He gives them more space on the field.
The stats in the eyeball test. It's very obvious.
Oh,
It's obvious. It's obvious. It's there.
All right.
It's obvious. Now you want to come up with some stats or something that has statistical proof that SSG would have won that series? Then I mean, like you bring them to me, but I haven't seen them. You know what I'm saying?
I don't live in a world of stats. I just
my bad. I live in the stats and eyeballs. I'm the combination of the analytics.
What I see on the field is that's visual enough for me to know that things could have been different.
All right, glad to know you live in 1980. We live in 2021 now. You gotta have the stats with in conjunction with your eyeballs.
Yeah. Let me know, like if we watch anything like in the future about an apocalypse, let me show you how stats is gonna work in the future, TBates. I'm telling you, like if we don't have all this statistical evidence, bro, you ain't gonna.
What kind of comparison, man? Argument week. Envy, best team in NA. Win Thomas on the Fennec. It's proven this weekend. First time he hopped on Fennec in like a whole entire month and a half. It's just that simple. Base knows.
Oh god.
Base knows.
I think they got lucky, but that's me.
Fortunate, okay.
Yeah.
Lucky.
I think they just had a good day.
Oh, okay. Good day's all you need to win a championship tomorrow.
Apparently. Apparently, a good day and a Fennec is all you need.
If,
I
if
start
they
playing
have a
Fennec
good
more.
day, they'll win a championship.
Yeah, I feel
Look
like
at TBates.
I didn't
feel
say
like-
if. I said a good day is all you need. Go ahead, Demar.
I just want everybody else to try out the Fennec now and let me know how it feels if it makes your game better.
Use something like him. Sorry, guys. Just
Oh.
to let me know.
Oh, my bad. Now, you don't reach the qualifications of
You have to be
Atomic.
atomic.
Right. Okay. Well, that being said, I guess this kind of does lead into our next question, then, because they do end up winning this, but everybody's already like writing this regional off, calling it a Mickey Mouse regional. Wait, no, coach, no, we're not at this subject yet. We have another question, but
It's fine. We don't have to talk about the other thing.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so we'll just still move on to this one because I guess this is actually the big one that we did want to wanted to talk about for today. And lots of discussion around what ended up happening with the series that Roldis is pointing out that things would have been differently if SSG would have gotten this call. And we do have a clip of the disconnect that ended up happening from Civical's POV. And gentlemen, what does it look like to you?
What you got? What you got, eyeball man?
Blatant disconnect. What do you think he's doing? Like, what is he doing? This is like in a competitive match. You're faking this. You're not in a, like, I don't know, like what do you think is happening, TBates? Because
Well, you see, clearly,
what's happening, TBates?
Statistically, obviously, there's no statistics behind this. I mean, clearly DC did some form or fashion. Either his controller came unplugged or he disconnected from the game. He got alt tab. There's various other factors that go into it, but it's very obvious that Sip was not in the game. He didn't have control of his car on that kickoff, and that did benefit Envy, and it ultimately did not help SSG. So I think it's pretty clear that was they made the wrong call, and I don't think there's any way other around it. I feel like, personally speaking, if admins are going to be making those calls have to be as exact and as you have to be almost perfect, because those calls, there's so many back ends that you have to go into that. Like that determined, like, say SSG really needed those points. Like, say they're lower in the G2 FaZe Shopify range, and like beating Envy would have given them even more points, which would have helped their chance for the championship. That matters. For the money on the back end for these players. I mean, a lot of them are younger, but still, money's still money. So I mean, that matters. And in terms of just like having a title, prestige, you might even get more YouTube content out of that. So there's a lot of mitigating other various factors that go into that type of decision. So in making that decision, it's got to be as perfect as possible. And that clearly wasn't the right call in my estimation.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna just be straight up and say it. That was a bad call. That's all it is. That's all it is in between. And it's funny too that we've grown as esports to where like this is now a conversation point. Like this is, what it is. But when you are playing for so much on the line now, and I think that, people were talking about questions of like team motivation, because of like no worlds or whatever. But I think after what we saw yesterday, there clearly is still that motivation, that drive to win from a lot of these teams based on what we saw and all those reactions. Like this is something that I think is wild to see, especially in that type of tournament environment. I think we definitely haven't really seen anything that, what's the word?
Glaring?
Egregious. Yeah, glaring like that. Like boom, happen. So in my opinion, I do think that it wasn't the right call to make. That being said, I also have an issue on things that happened afterwards. I think this is something that when I look at all parties, no one really made the right move here, in terms of the reactions that we ended up seeing from Reddles it just wasn't it. It just genuinely just wasn't it. And when I say everyone, I even mean as far as Raul picking up the call, because obviously, the clip is out on Roldis on his stream and stuff like that of him picking up the call.
Audience might need some context on that, because not everybody saw that.
Well, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. Reddles went on Roldis' stream after they ended up losing the series, and he said some things that he just should not straight up have said at all. Even if he was feeling it, whatever the case may be, what he ended up saying out on that stream had no room to be said in a public forum like that. It was disrespectful, and it's not, again, not professional at all. And like I stand by that. But also at the same time, not only do I stand by that, I also want to criticize some of the responses that we ended up seeing afterwards from people who are community figures and content creators who all ended up trying to support stuff like that. That's not what we stand for. You know, that's not professional. It's not a good look. Yes, the call was bad, but you don't go out there on socials and just straight up disrespect and witch hunt after people. That's not okay at all. And I really do want to like iterate that very hard, because you can be upset. I understand. Like the you know, I think everything was justified. You know, how you feel after that loss is justified, but there's a line, and you do, and crossing that line, and that line was crossed, and that's my point that I'm trying to make.
Go ahead, Dizz, man. You were there.
I mean, I don't really got much to say. I mean, I apologize for giving him that kind of presence to speak his mind on what he on
You mean platform?
yeah, that platform, whatever. The platform he had to speak his mind to an audience that obviously was quick to, you know, save everything that was said. And yeah, I don't think it definitely was in the heat of the moment. And knowing what he could have like lost out of this, I know he's regretting what he said, but like
And
it's like
I want to iterate on something. I don't mean to cut you off, Rodis. I do want to iterate on something. This is like everything that we are saying here is our opinions. Like this is 100% just how we feel about it. We've had this conversation. Like this is all just us three and our personal, like how we all feel about it. Nothing else added extra to it. Go ahead.
yeah, I think he does regret it, knowing what he could have lost from it. But it's still no excuse for being like that. Like you knew what you were doing, and it's on me because I accepted the call. So I messed up. So
I guess it's
I
on
really,
you.
I don't really got much to say. No, I gave him a
man.
platform, so like I kind of take responsibility for it. Yeah, I'm being an adult, TBates. Like I messed up, bro. So
My bad,
jeez, bro.
my
Like,
bad.
man, he's still like he's still a kid, honestly. Like he's not fully grown yet. So sometimes you just it's off impulse and he doesn't know what he was doing. So
See, you say that. You say that.
I mean, I feel like
But
okay.
I see like kid, the word kid. He is a young man. He's very much a young man, and
Hey, to me, half the people in the scene are kids, bro. Like,
I mean, yeah, that's because you're a grandpa. But regardless, he's a young man. And I believe, Reynolds is 18 years of age. And he also has a platform that and a base that he knows that he can cater to, and that will always support him. And now, as a player in that series, that goes to the whole entire SSG team. Sonics made the wrong call. It was a terrible call. Honestly, I don't know how they come about getting there. That should be a simple, clear as day. A restart. Let's restart the game. 1 goal, golden goal, just like that. It should be that boom, bang, bang. But there's a situation. I don't know if it's ever happened before to this degree or something like that. And that's something that Sonics and the players are going to have to work on in the future to make sure like that's okay. Because that my worst fear, my worst nightmare is that happening like a game 7 on a world stage, and then or like in the championships is online. You can't recruit people DCing or stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you have to somebody gets a win that they don't deserve. That's a pain that as a player myself and just a competitor, that is my worst. I would never want to experience that. But at the same time, that's on one side of the coin. On the other side of the coin is Reynolds' response and Reynolds' actions afterwards, which are not. Johnnyboi tweeted out about a week ago when the World Championship was canceled and championships was announced, saying that the Rocket League scene needs to grow up. And I'm completely with that, especially at this instance right here, because there's no world where you can just go out and publicly berate the people who are trying to put on a great product for you that have given you the ability to attain your platform and the ability to compete for what you desire, what you have grinded for. There's no world where you can publicly berate them, you can publicly antagonize them, and you just really just focus on everything that they've done that you find inadequate. There's no need for that. And then there's also no need for the community as a whole to back that, as DeMar was saying. We as a community need to be like better in terms of just being more mature and being like more responsible about our actions that we provide to our not only our fans but also just to ourselves. We gotta be better people in terms of everything. Because I'm just letting everybody know, Redos know, nobody's bigger than the league. I think that's where people get it misconstrued. Redos, you might have your base. You might everybody loves you for your comments, your constant constructive criticism about Rocket League at times, which is great. In terms of how you want to see the esports scene grow, because we all want that. But at the same time, you're not bigger than the league, brother. The league moves on with or without you. And just like and with your platform that you currently have as a vocal point of the Rocket League community, you need to know that with your position, the words that you say and the actions that you conduct, people are going to follow that. And so these young kids, they might be 12, 13, they're following what you're doing. They're saying, oh, he's doing that. Okay, it's fine. You got to be a leader, brother. You got to grow faster. That's just the position that you were in, and that goes for anybody out there. Anybody out there, because you can be replaced. I don't think people understand. You can be replaced. It's hard to get that through a young man's mind, but the league will move on with or without you. And there's gonna be penalties that come from this type of stuff that this sets a whole entire precedent. This a whole entire area, the gray area that Sonics, Rocket League, and players that we really got to all go into now, because this really shouldn't be happening. There shouldn't be a mob mentality and stuff like that, where we're just bashing people that really want to put on a great product for you. At the end of the day, the people who work for Sonics and the people who work for Sonics and are trying to an esports team, really anybody, they're all humans, and they generally all want respect. We all love Rocket League. We generally all do. And I think people forget about that. People act like the esports team and all that, they're the bad guys and all this. They made a mistake. It's a terrible call, and they're most likely, I'm assuming, they're gonna try to make amends for that. But there's no need for anybody to really just go out and act like they just feel entitled or they're empowered to really, I don't even know what words I'm looking for in terms of that, but really just demean other people. It's just no place for it, in my opinion. And if you truly, really want change, it's in the rules. I'm assuming there's somewhere in the rules where this is stated. And if it's not in the rules, then you go make your own players union, something like that, with the leader, a players coalition. You got all the players, and then you come up with a set of rules, set of terms that you would like to get implemented to make sure that situations like this don't happen. Because it's very easy to come at somebody when it in the moment, when it's happening. It's not easy to predict it and outlook it and put in the work and time to prevent it.
That's why they're not going to do it.
So if you truly care about it, you go and try to do that type of stuff. You make your players union, you have your head, and then so when situations like these occur, it will never. So in the off season, when people are having these conversations, you can go up and say, "This is what the players want. This is what the coaches want. We really need this type of stuff implemented. We'll work with you with it. So I'll just probably work with you back, maybe, and then the league as a whole can grow. So then there's no animosity between the two groups, because there really shouldn't be that. There's no place for it. Especially for a place where Rocket League as a whole is just growing. We all love it, and we all want it to be the best thing that it can be. But to do that, both sides have to be on the same page. I just want to really outline that, and because when I got home, I hadn't seen the SSG thing until I rewatched it. When I got home, I just assumed that Slater was streaming. I thought he just left the match at the end, and he was streaming a little subtle jab. I left the match. I'm getting fine. It's unfortunate for me, guys. We lost, but I mean, it happened, and we all know it's a bad call, stuff like that. So I was with it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny because I thought it was just a subtle jab and stuff. And then after I stopped and I started hearing about what happened, especially on the whole stream. That's where the line gets drawn. That's where we just need to all really take a step back. And it's more than just Redos. It's all the other people who are going with it. Mm-hmm. And allow and adhering to Redo's actions. We don't want to. Nobody wants to see that, man.
Yeah, because at this point, what did you got to say, Rodus?
I was just gonna say I couldn't agree with. I normally don't agree with a lot of what TBates has to say on any given day, but that was just well said, well spoken. I couldn't agree anymore.
Well, that's what happens when Lawyer Bates comes out.
Yeah, that was hey.
Okay.
I mean.
All
That's
right.
the more professional version of me. You know, that's
Yeah.
see, that's Tyler Bates, not TBates. That's Tyler Bates talking. And then make sense, Raul? But
Go ahead,
but,
D-Mon.
but yeah. Y'all got anything to add to that? Like maybe we could this is an open discussion, you know?
I mean, like again, all I said, I think I was pretty like clear with like how I felt about it. You know, like I said, it's no one was perfect. No one was perfect in
Right.
the situation. It's so funny too to me because like Reynolds got more mad than Typical did. Typical went to DC, but that's just funny to me. But regardless of that, I just think that this is going to be something that everybody kind of has to look back on because things could either improve from this situation or they could be much worse.
Right.
And I think we saw, a lot of people kind of saw like you're not going to get that from a lot of other people. You're not going to see, like you said, Tyler. Like I love Reynolds. I think Reynolds is really really good player. I think he brings a lot to the scene. We had him on the show. You know what I mean? That was one of our best.
That shows how much we like him.
Right. That's one of our best episodes. We know him. We've spent personal time with him. At least me and Roldiz have. Like most people say, "Oh yeah, I know him." Like no, we know him. That's why Roldiz cut that stream off when he did because he knew exactly where that was going. And I think that a lot of us want to see not only him grow from this as well, but also the league grow because we don't want calls like that and we don't want situations like that to ever happen again. So I think it's just a big reflection period for everybody during this time, in my opinion.
And then it's just in terms of the precedent I was talking about, because you don't want players and coaches to just be bashing Sonics and going to doing those limits. And where does that line be drawn in terms of like penalties and stuff like that? And that's something that's everybody's got to start discussing, because if this type of behavior is allowed and is let free, then more people are gonna follow suit in that, and that's something that nobody wants to experience.
Yeah.
And then personally, there's various ways you can improve it. I think like maybe asking for more, like prioritizing, maybe getting more spectator spots. I believe that's what they're called. Just more people in the lobby, like prioritizing that during the off season, trying to focus on that to where you can get 14, 15 people up in there. So then,
it's a dream.
It's like that would be one way, and like really push for that come from the players union. It's just so many different avenues, and Rocket League as a whole can grow from. And I think it's very important that we touched on all that, because we can't just let that slide.
So
I know.
quick, this is completely like a different like idea sort of thing, but how quick like in the NFL, like you have refs near coach. Like maybe an idea where it's implemented that there's a moderator in a call with the coach as well, like in the team, so that it's like quick. Like he doesn't have to type anything. He just says timeout. Like
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Like it just be a feed per se from what the coach is saying to the moderator channel, where they all like just listening, and then the coaches tells them, yo, can play. Like that type of thing, that's a slow process. That's a slow process. That shouldn't be a thing. I don't know how that happens. That's pretty backwards thing, and I ain't gonna count. There's no reason for the coach to have the alt tab and start typing to people. You can't play. Then it's 10 seconds later. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you gotta like sympathize with SSG players in terms of that. Cause that's a whole no. Umpteenth degree. If my coach had to actually go out of his way to type saying I can't play, but then they scored. It's too late now.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's definitely got to be a faster, more instantaneous way of trying to combat that. And if that's not even an option, then just like a more defined rule set and a procedure to go through. Because what we just saw, that should be easily accessed, and that should be 1, 2, 3. On 1, 2, 3, eyes on sip. He's clearly DC'd. He's driving straight. Replay the game, and we move on.
Yeah. So that was really, I think, probably the biggest thing that ended up happening over the course of yesterday. And we talked about it, but let us know what you think. Use the hashtag First Touch on Twitter. I gotta get my branding in. Moving on. Something that also was super cool as we go to the next topic. Khaled competing in the Battle of the Bulls, as you got the Samurai Gaming logo, because he is a player of Samurai Gaming. If you don't know who Khaled is, he ended up beating Fairy Peak in the match that ended up. Wait, did he win against Fairy? Did Fairy win?
No, he lost.
He lost.
I was gonna say, yeah.
He lost, but it was close. It actually was a really close game.
Yeah.
It was like 2-2 going into OT.
He lost 3-2.
Yeah.
You got all the games?
Yeah. So Yeah, so first thing was Lion Blaze beating AJ 3-2. Then OSM straight up dominated East, so that was 8-4. Then Ashley against Scrub, that was 6-3, which is actually a really cool one with
Do
Ashley.
the people know who Ashley is?
They should. If they don't know who Ashley is a player. Johnnyboi talked about him so many different times, but it's actually a really good story how he's a ones man who plays with one hand and he has a controller on his chin. I can't really do it. It's like this a little bit. He like plays like this. And it's so cool because he like
his controller.
Huh?
He leans into the controller with his
he
chin.
leans to the controller. He holds the controller up with like his stump and like moves like with this other hand. It's so crazy. But he has one hand and he is like one of the, he's definitely top of the ones leaderboards right now. He got invited to Battle of the Bulls to play against Scrub, who ended up beating 6-3. And that was incredible. He had the post-game interview. He was getting emotional about it. It was such a touching moment, to be honest.
Right. And that's amazing.
That is amazing.
That just lets everybody know, don't let anybody like put you down in your dreams like that. I can't guarantee it, but it's very likely that somebody told him he couldn't play his game. And he just said, whatever, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And he's made a means, and he's really, really excellent. The game's superb, and it's just you gotta tip your cap to him, brother, because that's something that's so beautiful to be able to play the game at the highest level like that and have the consistency and really just the creativity to even think about playing it and then mastering it, the work ethic behind it to master it. That's something
crazy.
that you just gotta give nothing but props to. And it's a heartwarming moment to see somebody like him make it all the way up to that level and put on RLCS stream. Made himself 5K yesterday, so I know he's happy.
Honestly, truly inspirational. Truly inspirational seeing that.
Mm-hmm. There's so many people. The most common thing is he's doing that with one hand. I can't even do that with two hands. That's always the most common like response to that too, which is so funny, but it's so true. He's good. He's good. So keep an eye out for more of Ashley as things continue on. But also a couple of other series. Jorius versus apparently Jack. Jorius won 7-3 against Jack. And then of course Fairy Peak beating Khaled, which was so crazy. That one close, TBates. I think we do actually. Don't we have a clip of that as well?
Yeah, we got a clip.
Yeah. Let's roll it.
I mean, it's just the first goal that I believe any Middle East players ever scored on RLCS stream. That's kind of iconic, ain't it?
Yeah.
And that's like groundbreaking.
Yeah. It's historic. Historic.
Also, is this the first 1v1 ever on RLCS stream? Like the Battle of the Bulls? No, I'm not counting the freestyle. I'm talking about actual 1v1.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. As
far as I know.
I think
So it's like a combination of the first Middle East player ever playing and then scoring, and then it's also the first ever 1v1 anybody's ever seen on RLCS stream, which I think is huge for the scene.
Yeah. So I mean, what does this mean for the Middle Eastern region now that we see this and 1v1s in the future? What do you think we'll start seeing more stuff like this, or?
I mean, to me, it opens up so many avenues and venues that they can go because there's an off season. Like there's an off season. There's always off season, and like last off season. Granted, it was right after COVID happened, but then it was just nothing but community driven tournaments that all have 1v1, 2v2s, and stuff like that, 3v3s. It'd be cool. If there's like just 1v1s or something like during off season that were like Sonic sponsor or someone like that, to the point where it just be like 1v1 becomes like this bigger game. Okay, it's a huge game mode that everybody loves. I believe Johnny and Sugar casted some of those, by the way. And I don't know, I find it to be historic and monumental because we all want, especially that team right there in that logo. You see that Samrock Gaming? I know TBates is one of the number one advocates for that team to be playing at the highest level. And so whatever means it takes to get them on there, I'm ready. I'm gonna have my merch on, everything. Give me that my Ahmad. Give me my O'Callaghan. I might get a little Senzo on me too, you know what I'm saying? Rep them on string. Best team.
I need Seven needs to just mail you like a team kit so you can just
he needs to. He needs to mail me everything. I talk about number one fan. I'm waiting for the day. Come on, oh my, I don't know what it means in terms of regions or how exactly they go mode in, or if they even are going to be able to play 3v3. Yeah, it might be 5 years down the line, it might be tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to happen, if it happens. But what I can't say is if they do end up playing Oh no, it's over. It's wraps.
What do you feel, Roll?
I don't know. I think this means a lot for Middle East, just to be on an RLCS stream with like over 100,000 viewers, like for the first time in history. This is massive for them, and it should mean the world, because like this means Psyonix get more comfortable, like, and maybe it's leading to something, you know, TBates is praying for at this point. And 1v1 RL and even 2v2, like off
That'd be
season.
cool.
Off season is a thing, and maybe Psyonix leads that way into they've been doing so much that we haven't expected. You know what I'm saying? So like they've been creating so many more different avenues. There's freestyles. There's now there's 1v1. The forward, you know, like everything. It's just a bunch of new things that I don't think anybody was expecting. And even like no new graphics that are in between games, where the Ford truck's pulling out the boost and all that, pulling out the ball, taking out cars that are demoed.
That was so
It's
clean.
everything that
cinematics were
Psyonix
nice.
has been doing recently is just it leads for crazy new possibilities that can happen in the future. And I think they're just moving super quick on things, which is great to see. And I just expect to see things that we want to see in the future to now happen, because like I don't
Yeah,
expect nothing like
right. The building blocks are there.
and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. That'd be super exciting. I'd be so stoked. Watch a 2v2 or a 1v1 tournament. Come on, and that also just makes sure that when you're grinding, you can't just play threes no more. Cause they cater to all groups. They've had the casual with that gridiron thing.
Right.
They had the freestyle group. They did the 1v1s.
Mhm.
Oh,
Hey,
matter of fact,
2v2
you
is next
can
now.
figure it out.
What's the
2v2 coming
2v2
up.
is next.
2v2 coming up. It's about to
Next
launches of
again.
elimination. 2v2s. You can't be too far away from me. We figuring you out now.
Oh, God.
After a simple breakdown,
Wait.
you just got to break it down real fast. Something's missing. It's 2v2.
2v2.
Don't tell me
Yeah.
that. Don't tell me something big happening. Oh my God. Don't let me play 2v2 against some people. I'll get first rounded, but
Look, if there's 2v2s, I got first dibs. Put me in there. Not to play, just to catch.
oh yeah. I mean, you didn't have
look,
to. You didn't have to say not to play. We
I'm
we
getting my
already
twos
understood
up,
that.
okay? I'm getting my twos up. You know this.
Okay.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon. That being said, I'm not as fast as some of these boys, but speaking of speed, I want to move on to another topic that we have, which is the fastest region conversation. And man, Johnnyboi, first off, we got to throw this all the way back to when Johnnyboi had all of us on his podcast Saltcast to talk
All
about
the way back.
this.
That was last Wednesday.
Okay, well, guess what? It's a timeline. It's a timeline. Okay, he had us on the podcast, and then he had to tweet. That's what I'm saying. We got to throw that back to that part. Okay.
Okay, we're throwing it back.
Yes, beat. So we go back to that. We Johnnyboi sets us up. This was so crazy. He's talking about the fastest region. He's looking up stats.
Time out. I just want to disclaimer fast. He didn't set us up. He set you up. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, whatever. He set me up. He asked all of us a question, and then I responded, and I said, "Well, I need to see more than just recent results." He's like, "Oh no, don't worry, we got those." And I had that moment, and then he ended up showing us out. But then he went even further, and then
Keep saying
also.
us.
Whatever, dude. He went further and made a tweet about the fastest regions and lined them up. And I guess the question I have for the group is, now that we know where all the regions are. By the way, if you don't know, look at Johnny's Twitter. It's there. If you don't know, actually, boom, we have the tweet right here. As you can see, I calculate the average player speeds across every game in the RLCS, X, and the APL KSA Nationals. Here are the results in unreal units per second. And then, of course, there's some production notes on the side as well. Thank you to Psyonix Dave for that. But also, you can see the numbers. Middle East at the top, NA all the way at 4th, just barely behind Sam. And, of course, OC's at the bottom. But
Poor OC.
Yeah, poor OC. Well, let's be real. But how much stock should we put into this tweet?
You want to go first, or should I go first, Raul?
We already know you're gonna put so much stock into it just because Middle East
Wrong.
is number one. Nah.
Wrong. That's just completely wrong. I was gonna say this. That means absolutely nothing.
Oh,
Oh.
wow, taking me by surprise. Hold on. Okay, you could go first now. Like, I want to hear what you have to say, actually.
The reason it means absolutely nothing is because people are just gonna misconstrue this. Just because Europe's moving faster than NA in terms of average player speed doesn't mean that they're the better region. I think people have a misconception or disassociation between speed of players and success. Everybody always says that the faster you play, the more successful you be. That might work in rank, but that doesn't necessarily equate to when you're on RLCS level playing field against 3 other people and with 2 other people on your team. For example, Middle East moving really fast. You got that one out of all of them, in my opinion, means something. The rest of them mean absolutely nothing. But the reason I say that because Middle East is because they genuinely play a faster game. They're Sam, but better. Like in terms of mechanics, speed, consistency, the ability to create, they can do all that. And I believe if you put them in any region, I mean, you put like those teams from the Middle East, Samurai Gaming and stuff like that in Europe, NA, those regions will increase the speed just drastically as well. It's like having 2 first killers on a team in terms of like SRG, in my opinion, in terms of speed, and then they're just all moving. But Europe and NA and Sam, for example, Europe plays boomer ball, which means the ball is constantly going back and forth, which means people are driving all the way up the field and driving all the way back down the field. They're obviously going to have a higher speed than, say, NA, who have a way more possession-based Rocket League style, and wherein we keep the ball tighter to our car, we go for more air dribbles, the ball, we go for more flip resets. The ball is going to move slower, of course, in order to pull off those type of moves. OC at the bottom, I mean, it's just OC. You think you would want to see them a little bit higher, at least show that they have some type of speed behind them. But and then Sam, we all know that moves. That's just me. I don't put too much stock into it.
So you're telling me, I just got a question for you, TBates. You're telling me that if we know that Middle East is pretty much your one team, and SRG is what your whole stock is into. If they were to transfer into Europe or NA, then the whole region would adapt and move to their speed, or will they move to the region speed? You think the whole region would have to adapt to SRG speed rather than SRG adapting to the region?
Wait, TBates died. Let's get. We got to revive TBates. He crashed from. Hello?
Yeah,
you're good now. Well, we're not on the cameras right now.
I said SRG has to adapt to. They don't have to adapt to the region speed. The region has to adapt to them. Is what you're saying? If they were to go to North America or Europe, the region is going to have to adapt to SRG rather than SRG adapting to a region speed.
Yes. Did you see the tweet about Ahmed's speed alone?
No.
Them boys moving at 1750, I believe. He don't stop gassing. He don't stop like that. You've seen SRG play, bro. When you have that type of speed, you see, you always say that if Rogue had a little bit better pieces behind the great Jason, that they'd be better. Well, SRG or Rogue with the great pieces, you have literally two of the best players in the world. And Ahmad and I don't think it's arguable, disputable. You can argue what place they go in, but they're both one of the best. The only thing they haven't proven is the RLCS level type playing field in terms of pressure, in terms of big lights on you. But I don't think that matters to them. Them boys kill it. Them boys go hard. You know what I'm saying? In terms of yeah. So it's just like Rogue, but better. You always say people have just a first killer speed, but imagine having just a mod plus Senzo versus Ocala. What you gonna do about that? You gonna play slow? You gonna let them play offense against you all day? You gonna let Ahmed go off the ceiling? Double touch, reset on top of your face? You gonna let Ocala hit you with a low 50? Then Senzo comes in real high, then all of a sudden they go 1, 2, 3, skip to my Lou, and you're just scratching your head saying, what is going on? It's in your net now, dude. You got to pick up the pace, otherwise you can't beat them.
I need to see it. That's something that I need to see. I need to see Europe's top team versus them, and then I need to see NA like one of the top 5 teams against them. Like I just need. Time out. I ain't saying they would go in there immediately and beat them. It would probably take like a month of work, a month of good scrims, a month of that RLCS type preparation. You making them sound super scary though. They are scary. One of the team kind of say you get a month of work and then they go be one of the best teams in the world. That doesn't happen. It take teams a process to become one of the best teams. I mean, BDS. It wasn't too long until they were at the
They
top.
had a whole rival series.
Whole rival series. That's because they were forced into it. They weren't playing top teams in rival series.
Okay, they had a rival series, but then they had scrimmage before the season. That still
That
matters.
was like a month break.
Okay, to TBates' point, TBates does have a good point. The reason why I say TBates has a good point, because if you look at the rest of the season and all the other teams that are in the league, there's more teams that are doing worse out of playing for 9 months than there are teams that are doing better. Like in terms of, for example, Knights, Alpine, Oxygen, like they are just now getting better. Liquid even, and they've been playing for over 6 months. Liquid were supposed to come into the season and be one of the top teams. Even Solary was supposed to do that too. They needed so much more time in order to get better.
Bro, first killer came into the league had to get better. So it's just like BDS. You could say BDS. That's an exception then. SOG would be an exception as well. You know what I'm saying?
SOG would take a month and then dominate a region.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the claim is wild. I think they would need more than a month. Yeah,
So,
I think the claim is more than a month, but that's just me.
see that month of them adapting or whatever it is they need to do that you're saying they need to do in a month is like they're going to either slow down in that month adapting to the regional speed. If you're saying they're gonna struggle in a month, like they need a month of playing against the regional talent.
That's
You think they're
regionals.
still gonna keep the speed? Why would they struggle then? Why would they
I'm talking about month
struggle?
of scrims. All they need is like one regional.
Why would they struggle though? Like I don't
I didn't
get
say
it.
they would struggle. When did struggle come out of my mouth?
You said they wouldn't dominate the region.
So if you're not dominating, you're struggling now. What kind of
okay. The way you hype this team up, yes, that is the way it's going. You that hey, once they get in the region, it's over. It's wrapped.
Tee up.
Like tee up, T-Bates.
Let me be very clear for the audience and for you, Road, is because sometimes I just feel like you hear what you want to hear. First off,
Do I?
yeah, you do.
Oh,
Because the
gosh.
word struggle never came out of my mouth. I don't know how you even got approach struggle. I said they wouldn't dominate immediately. I said give them a month. And
then they would dominate.
And then you immediately say that and claim that as struggling. There's a spectrum. Wouldn't dominate means they still finish in top 3, top 4.
Like you're changing what you want me to hear.
No, not
Yes,
be
you
more specific.
are.
No. Apparently, I need to make sure that you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth because you see, you just they go in one ear and you hear what you want to hear. So I'm making it very clear for you. So there's no gray area, so you understand. Listen.
So you're saying that if Middle East jumps into a regional,
I didn't say all Middle East. I didn't say all Middle East.
It's just
you're saying
SRG.
if
It's just
Sandrock
SRG.
Gaming jump into a regional tomorrow, they will finish top 4
Yes,
in Europe.
of course.
In North America.
Oxygen just finished top 4 in North America, but then again, now it's an anomaly. In North America, it's gonna be a little bit tougher. I'll still finish in top 4.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
You really want to break it? You guys want to break it down? We got a little bit more time for this segment. You guys want to break it down so everybody can understand. First off,
No,
give me a team. Give me a team.
We already know why though. Like
Why
it's
what?
okay. You don't have to break it down. We know why.
But the audience might not know why because they see both of y'all making faces.
Okay. I'll give you a team. The Machine.
That was a toughie. You gave me the toughest one I can go against. But I can. All right, so we can break down. Ah, man. Okay. All right. See, I don't know who's.
Yeah.
Miss is still the best player on the field. Miss is still 100% the best player on the field.
Really?
There's no
he takes
disputing it.
Atomic being on a different card to be the best. Okay, go ahead.
Come on. First off, he named the best team in NA, which is good. Because if you're the best team in NA, you're probably the best team in the world. So, I mean, he named the best team. So already, DeMar is giving him that much props. So we gonna break it down and comparing those two. Mist is still the best player on the field. There's no disputing it. Just want to let everybody know that. Still, whenever he's on the field, he's 9 times out of 10 best player. It's very few people that are better than him. Now after that, Atomic on Finnegan, Ahmad. I gotta go, my boy Ahmed. That boy cold.
Gosh.
Even Atomic on Fennec not as good as Omni.
Gosh.
And everybody knows how much I gas Atomic on
my
Fennec. That's how good that young man is from ME is. That's how good he is. With the mechanics, the speed, the consistency. Then after that, Ocala is the next best player on the field.
Not
in terms of skill.
Oh
I'm not talking about in terms of resume. I'm talking skill. Pure Rocket League skill. Cause you gotta take into account for the four time, you gotta take into account the resume, the experience, and all that. See, and that matters. That's why I would say Envy would beat them the first time. Because I mean, you got Turbo on the other side of the field, man. You got Turbo and Atomic on the Fennec. That's too much experience, too much greatness, especially when they own.
Wait, before I even rebuttal or anything, all right? You said they would beat them the first time. So what happens afterwards?
How long is how long a window we talking about from after the first time Envy beats them?
That matters?
Yeah, it does matter. Okay, if it's the next day, Envy probably beat him again.
So they need a little bit of time after the first.
Yeah, they probably about a week, 2 weeks. Then after that, they ready.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta adjust to playing the best. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to let y'all know. I just wanted to let you know how good that team SRG are. That's all I'm saying. So the fastest region tweet, the only to go back to it, the only thing that mattered of substance was ME being that fast. Other than that, everything else is kind of irrelevant, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, we know how you feel about the tweet. We also know how you feel about the regions. I don't really agree with it all, but that's fine, I guess. Let's try to move to something we might have an agreement on in our next topic, which is North America versus Guild, where we have Chicago, Reddles, and First Killer facing off against Guild. I believe that's happening this week on Wednesday. As I think it'll be myself, Johnnyboi, Rizzo, and Turbo, who will all be watching that, and obviously Johnny and myself will be streaming. Yeah, they're gonna do it. We talked about it, I think, last week when Noli was on. The challenge is issued, the challenge is accepted, and it's actually going down. So, in terms of this particular matchup, boys, how are you all feeling on the NA versus Guild matchup?
Well, from outside sources, I have, I think from outside sources, they say a Guild is not a top 5 team in the region. So with that knowledge, yeah, it should be pretty dominant. If you take, you can consider First Killer top 3 player in the region for NA. You can consider Chicago a top 3, top 5 player in the region, and Reddles is for sure top 10. It's arguable that he could be top 5 for some players, but these are all exceptional players, especially for the given roster that they are on. Now you're facing up against Guild, who don't even have the respect in their own region, despite what, Noli was on the stream saying. He believes that they are a top 2 team or a top 3 team for sure, right? The best team in the region or something like that, whatever he was saying. We go into Wednesday and we'll kind of find out. But the thing that I want to kind of note is that if NA doesn't win, it's like, you're gonna hear excuses regardless of like what happens. So it's gonna be crazy content on every platform, really. So
what you're saying is, does Guild stand a chance?
No.
What series prediction?
I got 4-1.
4-1. Lamar, what you guys say? I mean, you casting it, broadcasting. I don't know exactly what you're doing, but you're doing something with it.
I'm doing both.
Oh, my bad. You're doing both. You're a man of many talents. Okay, so
of course.
Okay, man of many talents. What do you feel will happen when the NA super team that can play from the East Coast, that is, in a East Coast super team-ish, plays against Guild? What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, thank you for the question, Mr. Bateman. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
it. So no, I think it's gonna be 4-2. I think NA teams are gonna win 4-2. I give them an extra game because they're playing on their ping. But I do think that it's not gonna be close. I think it's I think like I said early, it'll take a minute for all the NA boys to adapt to the EU ping, but after they get that adaptation, I think they'll just dominate the rest of the series. Personally, if they lose, it'll be hilarious though. I'll laugh.
That'd be
I'll laugh
kinda
the entire
funny. That
time.
would be kinda
I'm
funny.
kind of ready for that.
So you said 4-2. We got a 4-1. See, the main issue here is the ping. Because I don't care what anybody says. It's way different when you're playing on 20 ping and when you're playing on 90.
That's true.
It's a totally different ball game. That's a different way of approaching it. Your 50s might not feel the same. You might not feel as confident. When the ball's in the corner getting hit off the wall, you might feel hesitant. And also, there are a collection of individuals playing against a team. Team who's a well-oiled machine, probably, to the best of their ability. Now, Raul mentions his sources, who claim Guild aren't even a top 5 team in the EU. Which, I mean, that's respectable. I'm not going to touch on that. What I am going to touch on is the fact that I don't believe that Guild is going to win the game.
Oh.
and like, even with all those factors going against the NA boys, I just don't see it happening. I don't see a world where those free goals that EU allows NA's gonna allow. Even though I haven't figured out who's playing defense for that team. Actually, I take that back. I believe Guild's gonna win one game because I just don't. I don't know who's gonna play defense for the great NA dream team right there. I feel like having Mist on the team would have been a little bit better fit for somebody. But I mean, I think First Killer might be able to sacrifice a little bit and play some defense.
I think First Killer will be that third man for that roster.
Which, I mean, it's fine. First Killer in the back, I mean, you can't really go wrong with that.
You can't.
But it's gonna be fun. I think a lot of people are hyped up for it. I hope it gets a lot of views, and I hope everybody really goes and watches it because it means a lot. Especially the way Nolan was over here talking that talk on the show last week. You got to back that up, and this could be the first. It's gonna be his first opportunity to showcase that talk, and let us all know how good EU is. Now, let me tell you this. Let me ask y'all this: How is this strengthen / weaken the NA-EU debate?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of like how it is affect like the debate. If this NA team loses, or does this mean a lot?
Yeah.
Or
they can't lose. That's something like, I mean, obviously there's the ping excuse, but they also issued the challenge with those rules in place, which means they're that confident. So I don't think it's going to be a huge drawback because we know that there's like a ping thing, but also, yeah, they can't lose. Otherwise, the people just going to laugh.
Yeah, it's more of like a pride thing at this point.
Yeah.
Like for the individual players and for like the region as a whole, it's just gonna be like a laughing stock pretty much. If they lose, especially if they get like blown out or something, which is something that we don't see happening, but it's just gonna we gonna go into land. Actually, it might put a fire under people's butts. You know what I'm saying? We gotta go into land after especially if we get embarrassed right here by Guild. Yo, NA is about to as the next land. NA is about to turn up.
See, for me, if these boys lose, which is a lot of pressure on it, they lose, then we'll never get to see that BDS. I feel like if they end up beating Guild, which I do believe they will, then the big dogs got to come out. It's like boxers making their way up through the rankings to get the main card, get the championship fight.
Yeah,
you got to make your way up through it, and Guild's the first step. You might even have to go through Vitality maybe before you end up getting BDS. I feel like BDS they want that. BDS want to play anyway, so BDS probably hoping that Guild loses. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Just so they know they can come in and say, "Don't worry, EU saviors here," and woo, that'll be some content too. Now, see, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's just there's gonna be excuses on both sides. NA's got the ping, and then EU's just gonna be like it's Guild. That's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say it's Guild. Like
okay,
no
EU's gonna say that. Gotcha. I'm gonna say what's Guild gonna say when they lose?
Yeah, Guild. I don't know what Guild's gonna say. Yeah, I'm waiting for Guild. I'm waiting for what Noli gotta say.
They're gonna have to hold that L. That's all it is. You just gotta hold that one. Because what you gonna do? You know, you got knocked out. You know, a team challenged you. You saw everybody on Twitter with the Twitter fingers. Yeah, let's do it. I'm down. We just won a regional. We're feeling good. Woo. You know, it hasn't been that long. It's been like a week.
A week and a half. It'll be a week and a half.
Right. So if you telling me you ain't got that same energy within a week and a half, then that's a bigger problem.
That's right. And you gotta go work on that. That's gonna be exciting. I personally really need NA to win because I just believe that it will strengthen it, and it brings BDS out. It brings BDS out, and then after.
You say it like they hide it.
Yeah, fact.
we gotta bring him out.
No, they're watching from the shadows right now. They just observing. Monkey Moon, Mark Bait and all them, and actually they be making these subtle tweets about how people be discrediting them stuff. They be feeling some type of way. They be feeling hurt. We gonna see though, because once this NA team beats Guild, we gonna see how much it hurt is. Because then you got to bring yourself onto the field, and on the field, it's a different type of ball game. Especially, and we gonna see that first killer versus Monkey Moon. Ooh, I'll be excited. And Monkey Moon gotta have the advantage too with the ping. So Monkey Moon.
I don't know. That's a different story. To be honest, you got the best team in Europe now versus
the best team.
Yeah, BDS.
First off, I feel like the NA team would upgrade anyways.
What, they get missed in place of somebody?
Missed.
It'd be missed first killer and somebody at that point. I need the greatest NA team of all time that can play on the East Coast.
Does Mist have a good ping though to EU? I think that's the question.
Hey, he's in New Jersey or something.
In New Jersey or something like that. New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, somewhere on the East Coast. Somewhere on the East Coast, he gotta get that good ping. So I mean, that'd be exciting. But first they gotta be Gil. And I hope it's so because if not, then the NA they go crumble for a little bit, and people go make some excuses. I don't want to see no NA players making no excuses because it make us look weak, and we're not weak like that.
That's true. They have to win, and they have to make sure it doesn't go 7. Because if it goes 7, then
if it goes 7, it's fine. A win's a win.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's against NA. And if you would expect Guild to win.
Okay.
Just so, like from a non-biased and like just from like a position of somebody who doesn't even watch Rocket League, you just give them the cold facts. This team just won a regional or something. Like you tell somebody like they just won the tournament. Their team been playing together for X months. This team's just a collection of players. They're forming. They probably haven't even practiced together. They're gonna be playing on worse ping, which means the ball's gonna teleport sometimes against them. But other teams gonna be playing on a more solid, consistent ping. It's just like if you give somebody the cold hard facts of that, you would give Guild edge. Okay. So a win's a win. I'm just saying it's gonna be a dominating fashion.
I mean, you even got like Reddles tweeting out that they won't take a game off of him. Like you have these.
He's confident.
Like,
I mean, that's just Reddles. He's just a confident young man.
All three of those players, I think, are extremely confident, even going into another region, or they wouldn't even have like offered to be on the roster. I think Reddles going around asking that we might be looking at a different team if Chicago and First Killer weren't confident. You know, First Killer's confident. First Killer's on the timeline, tweeting out whatever. He's bashing on Monkey Moon, he's bashing on Europe. First Killer does not care. He is confident. He knows he's confident. And I just don't think. I think we'd be seeing a different roster if they weren't confident. But they're just expecting a no games taken off of him. It's crazy. He's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of, this is a little. Well, before I go, I don't have this on the list, but I did want to shout this out. But before I even do the shout out, does anyone have anything else to add for the Gil convo?
And they better win.
That's facts.
You better win.
Facts. I did want to shout out something. I was just scrolling through my timeline. I saw this. I totally should have added this, but Johnnyboi is streaming, I believe today, a 2v2 showcase called Rage Quit. We're talking about 2v2s. He's doing 2v2. The first series that he's gonna have is Khaled and Ahmad versus apparently Jack and Dead Monster.
Wait, what? Wait.
Today at 3 p.m. Like pretty much 30 minutes after the show. 30 minutes after the show. Yeah, so that's gonna happen, and then Oli and Tho are gonna play Mike Boy and Asalon. It's gonna be Johnnyboi and the Chiefs casting on his Twitch channel. So please.
That's a 7?
I don't know. I hope so. We'll have to find out. Like I said, it's on Johnnyboi stream. So Johnnyboi, please on Twitch. So keep that in mind. I've already retweeted it, so you can also go down to my timeline as well if you need to look for it. But yeah, wanted to say that because we're talking about cross regional stuff. That's gonna be pretty intense. It's gonna be pretty intense. But moving on to our next topic, which is CRL. CRL, we had an interesting week, of course, as CRL continues to happen. But Bates, coach of LSU, your team lost 3 series in a row. I think one of them was to Spuda. What's going on with the Tigers? Are we gonna see a bounce back? They have an off week. Like, what happened? What happened?
Well, see, I put the onus on me for being a terrible scheduler. I had them playing 3 games in one day, and I should have known that if you lose the first 2, really, if you lose one, the tilt's gonna just be there, and then you lose the second one, then it's gonna get even worse. And so the third one, you might as well just like not even play it. So that's on me for scheduling 3 games. Also, it's on me. I'll be all over the place. Sometimes I'll be in there trying to uplift the spirit. Sometimes I'll be doing my own thing. I'm not. I'm a floater.
Mm.
I don't like just sitting in comms like that. I'll be a resident sleeper. but I mean, off days happen for the Tigers. You know what I'm saying? It's not everything has to be perfect, and I'm sure my boys will bounce back. This clip that's about to be shown where they lose the UTD. I mean, Jackson had 1,400 points, I think. So I mean, and granted, 7-minute 30-second OT. And see this terrible touch by Bron B. I already told him about that. Stop giving away the ball, and we're gonna work on that. Logan should stop driving forward when it's clear that he's about to get free touches. But I mean, it happens, and so this just goes back to the replay review. We had our first ever replay review with this current roster, and it'll be they'll be better. I'm not worried about the Tigers. I don't think anybody should be worried about the Tigers. Also, Jackson's hard trolling on the Lamborghini.
Well, I gotta turn to roll this here because this is base first, coaching session. But roll, you coached before. I mean, do you agree with base methods here? He's floating in and out of the comms. He's having the scheduling mistakes. Like what's going on with base?
It's pretty obvious he doesn't know if he wants to coach or not. So he's not. If Com's a resident sleeper for Bates, he's not really invested into what's going on the field. So he's like, I'm gonna tell you to do this, and if y'all do it or not in the game, it's on you to adjust it. I gotta go cook. Like, I'll be back. Hopefully y'all win. He comes back. He sees this team lost. He comes back in the comms. He's like, "What happened? I didn't watch a single minute of it." And then they say it, and then he's just like, "All right, do better next time." Goes back away. He's like, "I'm not sitting here."
What do you mean? I sat there for 2 hours on a replay review, man. I'm a great friend.
Was that after they lost the 3 games?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, all 3 of the games were back to back, so we weren't supposed to watch the replays.
Yeah, it's valid, but I mean, you could be in there watching the games as it's going on, so that you
I
can
did. I sat
adjust
there
it.
the last time.
Huh?
I sat there the last time. By that point, it's just tilting.
Yeah, it's over. You were there when they didn't need you anymore. Like, they needed you in the first 2 series before they tilted. By that time, you just left them in the dumps. You're trying to pick them up.
On my head tomorrow. Switch top of the Akron or something, man. Get this dude off him. He finally found me. He
can't talk about it. He can't talk about it. He's
confident. He's confident, and like it's just like something I can't really dispute for once. He's finally talking some sense. So get me off of me. What's the next thing, man? I'm moving on.
Oh no! Now it's moving on.
Now he needs to move on.
Right, now he needs to move on. All of a sudden, things can't.
Where's Tyler Bates? Can Tyler Bates get you out of this? Your alter ego.
Tyler Bates could. That's not my alter ego. TBates is the alter ego. Tyler Bates is me.
Well, okay. To kind of go back more into it, obviously, CRL season continues on, and right now, Western Conference looking kind of crazy. With UNT at the top, and then I think Eastern Conference has been pretty chill. We do have the standings, boom, for the Western Conference and what they look like right now. UNT sitting at 10-1, and then Arizona caught up to LSU after those 3 losses affected their standings. Then you also got UT Dallas started to creep up as well, and Oregon getting some series in, but Oregon have not been looking good as recently. So I think I just expected more out of Oregon. Seeing the 5 losses from them hurt, but. Besides your Tigers, Bates, how you feel about the Western Conference?
It looks decent. I mean, not too much to put in the stock. I personally expected. No, I didn't expect Arizona to be that good without fire. Ain't gonna lie.
They got JoJo though. JoJo the goat. JoJo the goat.
But Arizona exceeded expectations by far, and then other than that, there's nothing too special. I believe WSU is better than their 3-10 record, but they're not like better in terms of being like a top 5 team. Better, I just feel like they're probably like 7. And then my own team dropping 4 games was a little caught me off guard a little bit. Other than that, it's all like genuinely
okay. And we'll show the Eastern Conference standings too, and I think this is one begs the next question for Akron, who aren't at the top. It's Northwood right now. Akron have not been playing with Tristan recently. They've been playing with Buttons And the question is, can Akron reclaim the throne without Tristan? Personally, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a no. It's not happening. To me, it's Northwood's league to lose. That kind of ruins the parody and not enjoyment per se, but like you love to have those storylines, and it's gonna be really hard for a team to knock off Northwood at the moment. I feel like the only teams that really can compete with them. Granted, Akron beat them. I just find it to be an anomaly because then Akron got swept the very next day. I feel like the only teams that can really match up with Northwood are both in the West and with UNT and LSU. And other than that, it would take a Northwood off day for them to actually like lose.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of how it boils down to for me too as well. Though I will say it is nice to see some teams step up. And I think this is also, it begs me another question here. Are there any teams that have overperformed or underperformed expectations? For me, I think, obviously, I feel like Oregon's underperforming. Teams that have overperformed, probably around the lines of UT Dallas, because they've just been
Really?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me double check. Yeah, UT Dallas in a 7-6 right now. I don't think I would
top 6 last semester.
I guess top 6 is fine, but they're top 4 right now, which is like, I feel like Oregon would be over them in that regard. It's like a slight overperformance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, what about you in terms of like underperforming and overperforming?
Underperforming, that Stockton team that's 2-9.
Oh, of course. That's easy.
UCF not losing so many games. I've watched UCF and you to see the players that they have and how they should be playing. I feel like their skill wise should be a top 3 team, no doubt. But it's something with their comms, or something with their energy, something with the way they approach the game, their practice, their mentality. Somewhere along those lines, they faltered or they're missing. And yeah, they're just not as good as they should be. Snipes is, I believe, it's his last season. It's a grad season, or he's graduating semester, and you think he want to go on a bang, but the only bang they're going out on is losing.
Yeah, that reminds me. Snipes was talking crazy. I think it was on Roll Diz's stream. He was talking a lot of talk, and I told him, I was like, Snipes, if y'all go into tomorrow and y'all end up dropping series, you're not finna hear the end of it. And what happened? They got swept in a match that they should have won. Matter of fact, let me pull up the receipts, man. Snipes,
what are you talking about?
There was a series that I feel like they should have won that we did on mainstream, and UCF played and they got blown out, and I was very upset. It's nice to know that because that was the last time we were like, in terms of predictions for everybody, where we were putting faith in at UCF, and they just end up dropping a ball there. So I am really hard on them, but I think that's deserved. Like, they should be doing much better.
Yeah, and then for overperforming or exceeded expectations, I should say, the team who I like genuinely, a lot of people didn't see how much Florida Poly. They put in so much work. They played in the field, I believe. I believe you might have played them in the field tomorrow, maybe one time, or I think they made D1 in the field. They put in the time. They have a whole program, and I really love teams that put in the work ethic. They put in the work. They have the work ethic, and the results come out of it. It's actually funny because their demo averages are like 7.5 per game or something like that as a team, which is incredibly insane how much of a gameplay stylistic way they approach the game, and it's effective and it works in CRO. It might even work in the league. I don't know if a team's ever really tried to be that demo heavy, but
so there's seven something.
Yeah, probably like 7. Like when I don't know the exact number, but when I go on the CCA stream, and they play on there, we use a system that calculates all that type of stuff, and genuinely every single time. There's one series last week they played a 5-game set and they had 43 demos. And one of those games they had 4 demos. So that just shows you how many demos they
had.
Dang.
How many wins they got?
10. 10-6.
Yeah, 10-6.
Bro, I would expect more wins because
no, they toss.
Oh, they toss.
Yeah, like they could easily have 12, 13.
That's the most frustrating thing too. You see teams with like so much potential, and then they throw
CRO. Yeah, CRO happens a lot. It's just more noticeable.
Yep, that's really what it is. It is more noticeable.
Okay, RLCS it happens too, but it's just limited. It's very rare to say. But CRO, you see these great teams, and then you just give them the most free goal possible, and you're like, at that point, defense for a lot of these teams, especially that 2000 MMR to SSL level, they can play defense. They can play defense adequately. So don't put yourself in that bind. Play your game and make the other team have to work rather than
Yeah.
you doing everything to try to get the ball by 'em.
And,
Those are my teams.
and speaking of like, you talk about CRL being noticeable or not, yeah, things being more noticeable. Something that isn't as noticeable, but is still RLCS and is happening very soon is the OCE Major. That's our next topic that we want to get into, one of our last ones for the day, real quick. OCE Major coming down to it, and which team will secure their spot in the championship. Right now, we know Ground Zero Gaming is already locked in, but there's a close race between Renegades, Cringe Society, and Mind Freak. Personally, I think I'm all for Renegades because I'm a CJ fan. So I want to see CJ go all the way. I think that he has the potential, and he's been experimenting on the Renegades roster a lot. There's definitely the potential there, but they gotta do well in the OCE Major. But I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on it too.
Okay, Dizz.
I mean, I was just gonna tag along with Demar on Renegades. OC is so
Dreads
far
and sleeper
behind.
for you?
Yeah, it just to me it doesn't matter, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm
Sheesh.
just gonna be brutally honest.
Oh my! Hey, at least you're honest about it. See me. This matters for OCE region because they're competing for a lot of money according to Liquipedia for this championship. So there's also this branding and all that type of stuff. I believe that Ground Zero is head and shoulders above everybody. So it doesn't really matter which one of these teams out of Renegades, Cringe Society, or Mind Freak, I believe it is, make it to there because they're just gonna lose to Ground Zero. But at the same time, it still matters in terms of like just those players and like them making their own like money. And see, I don't want to go with Renegades because you two did, but I was gonna go with Renegades. But now I'm gonna switch it up. And now just to play devil's advocate, I'm gonna go with Cringe Society and that boy Japay. He didn't work out in NA, but he's still really solid over there. And there's only like a 30-point difference, I think, between my Cringe Society and Renegades at the moment, or something along those lines. So it's gonna be tight. And this major's really gonna have a great impact. To be honest, if it's just the most honest thing, it's whoever avoids Ground Zero in the bracket.
Yeah.
Just I've looked over the brackets, and it just seems whoever avoids them ends up getting points. Like if you I think even it's not the same. The Cringe Society lost to Mind Freak for the last regional. But I noticed there's some of these regions where Ground Zero, if you're on their side of the bracket, you have a greater chance, and that allows you to get more points, and then ultimately those points make the big difference. So if there's a world where Ground Zero couldn't play in the major, then Renegade's probably your favorite. But I'm just gonna go with Cringe Society just to play a little devil's advocate, and whoever avoids Ground Zero in that bracket will ultimately more than likely end up making the championship.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the OCE Major. That's going to be coming up soon. But gentlemen, that is all the time we are going to have for today. It's been a great show. I think we hit on everything that we wanted to hit on. But if you didn't, there's anything else you want to say, shout outs or anything like that, now's the time. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
I don't really got nothing to say. It's always a great time on the show. I say it every week, and I'll continue to keep saying it because I always have a good time on the show. And that's it.
I just want to say that First Touch is a beautiful show where we talk about many different Rocket League-esque events, scenarios, situations that have happened. All opinions are our own. Just wanted to emphasize that, as Damar said earlier, just in case you missed that. And yeah, and in turn, and I hope the community as a whole grows from what occurred yesterday. I hope the players grow, and I hope the esports scene grows as well, because we have a great product. We have a game that's original. It's completely different from any other game in the world, and the sky's the limit for it. So, but in order to do that, we all have to be excellent young men, young ladies, and just people, and work towards making Rocket League the beautiful esport that we all want it to be. So just want to say that. But great show as usual.
Yep, great show again. Thank you guys so much for watching. First Touch obviously is fantastic. For us to be able to be here, voice how we feel about some certain topics, and be able to communicate with you guys as well, because that's honestly like the whole thing about the show is like we feel certain ways about how we feel on topics, and we want to be able to share that with you guys. And we appreciate you all watching as well. What? You made a noise.
I just want to say shout out to Koji, our producer.
Yes.
Runs everything.
Big shout out to Koji.
Big shout outs to Koji.
He's the homie.
Big shout outs to Koji. Koji's been, yeah. Matter of fact, Koji's been working a lot recently behind the scenes and even on his own other projects. So we appreciate him being able to take the time to help us out with the show as well, because we know he goes through a lot, and we just want to throw that out for him too. So, I mean, on behalf of myself, TBates, and Roll this has been First Touch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.